So, are you a friend of Dorothy's too?
Yeah, that's why I'm here. They arrested me during one of those riots. I know there's a very specific right to win this, but I'm going in head first anyways.
Really brave of you. I know there's no option for us to be gay in this society. We can't hold hands, much less get married or even date. So, I'm proud of you for fighting for our right to be who we are.
Thank you. I had to. People view us as flawed, even sick. If we don't wear gender-appropriate clothing, we get beaten. And they think that we're responsible for our predicament. It's just unacceptable.
I'm glad you're standing up for yourself and all of us. It's so important that we stand together and fight because we deserve to live the way we want to, even if the world thinks that we don't.
The trial of New York Police Department versus the Stonewall patron has begun. The defendant, Stonewall patron, is accused of assaulting an officer, resisting arrest, inappropriate clothing, and multiple accounts of homosexual indecency.
Even though it is illegal to be gay in this society, I was not engaging in any homosexual activity, Your Honor. I wasn't dancing and I was wearing gender-appropriate clothing. I simply went out for a drink in the only place I felt safe, and then I was trying to protect my friend. No harm done.
Well, Your Honor, I felt threatened by the violence of the riots. The defendant here was only wearing one item of gender-appropriate clothing. The law is to wear 3. Besides, you're being physically violent and resisting arrest, and that's what brought them here.
Well, I'm sure the prosecutor wouldn't enjoy it very much if he couldn't love his wife in public, or even at that, have a wife in the first place.
Well, that won't happen, now will it? And besides, no matter anyone's opinions on the laws, they're in place. You can do anything to change that if you tried.
Order. I think I've heard enough from the two of you. Your lawyers will now speak on your behalf. This is court after all. Prosecution, you now have the floor. Do you solemnly swear you will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
I am the attorney for the New York Police Department. Now, officer, could you please explain what happened on the night of the June 28th, 1969?
Well, it was pretty late, I'd say around midnight. Me and the other police officers went to go check out Stonewall Inn at Greenwich Village. So we show up, check if people are dancing, and if they're showing illegal PDA. And it was packed, especially for when we usually go down there. Mafia owned the bar because they knew they could make money off of shunned homosexuals who really didn't have anywhere else to go. So we arrested like 13 people for being violent and not wearing enough gender-appropriate clothing. And that's when one chick gets everyone really rallied up. And they start throwing things like bottles, pebbles, sticks, whatever they could get their hands on.
I see. And how did the defendant come into all this?
Well, I arrested that miscreant who threw the first brick, and the defendant attacked me for it.
So as I see it, the defendant did do something wrong. They wore inappropriate clothing and tackled an officer. So all that they were saying before was false. I think I've heard enough to conclude that the defendant is guilty.
With all due respect, Your Honor, I don't think you can do that. You haven't heard my side of the story yet. I assert my right to due process under the 5th and 14th Amendments.
I suppose I can't say no to that. Defendant, you now have the floor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Do you solemnly swear you will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
God don't mean nothing to. Thou right disobeying the Bible.
That's right. The Bible does say that man shall not lay with man. Homosexuality is unnatural. You should just stick to the way it's always been, with a man and a woman.
My God loves me very much, greatly, so yes, I do swear.
I am the attorney for the Stonewall patron. Can you please explain your side of the story on the night of the 28th?
Well, at around 12:30, the police arrived. They raged down the street and barged into the bar. I nearly broke my glass. I was quite scared. I was not aware of the health code violations and laws in this burden. And neither were most of the people there, I'm sure. So the police started arresting people and checking their genders. and everyone started getting mad. They felt invaded. Plus, it was a nice night, and we weren't just going to have it ruined by some paranoid officers convicting us of things we didn't do. Must have been the motivation of the crowd that inspired me to resist. Or maybe at that point, enough was enough.
And why were you there in the beginning?
Well, I was there to see my friend Marsha Johnson, who was performing as a drag queen that night, and I wanted to support her. Marsha always says, we need to be visible. We should not be ashamed of who we are. I guess that's why she threw the first brick. And I guess that's why I protected her when the officer wanted to arrest her for it. We deserve basic human rights just like anybody else. All these other people are standing up for their rights, like Martin Luther King and the civil rights movement and Gloria Steinem and the women's rights movement. This just begs the question, why can't I?
So it was just self-defense.
Exactly. The officer overreacted. I was just trying to protect me, Marsha, and all the other patrons.
Order. From what I heard today, it is clear what happened. You attacked a law-abiding officer who was just trying to do his job. And to quote the Journal of Church and Society, homosexuality is unnatural and sick. And homosexual tendencies are often associated with severe neurotic disturbances. The church says that you are a disturbed person, and I agree. And why should we be listening to what a disturbed person has to say, especially in a court of law? We will now hear the jury's verdict. As I see it, the majority finds the defendant guilty. You have been sentenced to 60 days in prison for resisting arrest, assaulting an officer, inappropriate clothing, and multiple accounts of homosexual indecency.
This is clearly unfair. Because I'm a homosexual, they don't let me use the bathroom or the phone, and all the skilled and experienced lawyers turn me away. It is a constitutional right to have an impartial judge. And yet, still, they were biased towards your side. This is going to be in the papers. I'm going to lose my job, and how in the world am I supposed to face my family? And I'm sick of being told I'm sick. This isn't right. But just you wait. This is only the beginning of the fight, and I'm going to continue to fight until there is justice for all queer Americans.
There will never be justice for you. You've gone against the word of God, who says in the Bible it should be only a man and a woman who gets married. You deserve a conviction very much.
Oh, go to
Hey girl, are you coming to the Pride Parade? That's where I'm heading. Okay, awesome. See you there. I'm so glad that we can openly express ourselves. But I know we would not be here today if it wasn't for the Stonewall riots. The Stonewall riots were revolutionary for the queer community because at that time they gained a voice in demanding for their rights. The riots gave people a place to unite in liberation against their oppression and against the closed-mindedness of people in the time. A year after the Stonewall riots, the first Pride March was held on Christopher Street. People then had a place to celebrate who they are with people who understood them. Now, every year in June, Pride Month is celebrated on the anniversary of the riots. Stonewall has helped to inspire such important progress in the queer community and help people be more open to the research of AIDS and HIV in the 80s, and inspired more representation in the media, like Ellen DeGeneres or RuPaul's Drag Race. In 2015, same-sex marriage was legalized across the whole country, and in 2016, the Stonewall Inn became a national monument. On February 3rd, 2020, Marsha P. Johnson had a park named in her honor to remember all of the important work that she did in the Stonewall riots. We've come so far, but still today, there are people being hurt and cast out because of their place in the LGBTQ+ community. In 16 states, people can still be fired from their jobs just because of their sexuality, and in 19 states, because of their gender identity. We can't forget this. and we will continue to fight for change. For we've made such incredible strides towards the right direction. We will continue to grow as a society. Well, I'm off to Christopher Street, and I hope to see you there.